Welcome YouTube friends and family to week 4 of the pantry challenge. So I am going to try to show you a few things I'm going to be doing this week to continue staying strong on the pantry challenge, the 3 Rivers challenge I should say. So let's make some breakfast utilizing some things from my pantry. I hope you'll stay tuned. So it's 5:45. Nothing says good morning, wake up like 5 a.m. chicken chores with the temperature wind chill is 11 below. And for those of you who, that's Fahrenheit. Let me ask Alexa. Alexa, how many degrees Celsius is minus 11 Fahrenheit? Minus 23.89. Ask Alexa, she knows. Oh, I hope she didn't hear me. So, I've been saving my drippings, and this is a tip that I learned from Jessica over at 3 Rivers Homestead. I will definitely leave a link to her channel below. Even though we both live in Ohio, we don't live close to each other. She has no clue who I am, but anyway, tell her Kym from the Wellness Homesteader sent you. I think you'll really enjoy her content. She has 9 children, 8 children. You kind of lose track after a while. I do. But she just has so many great ideas, and I appreciate everything that she shares on her channel. And okay, just throw your spatula. Saving things like drippings, bacon grease, great way to have extra fat in your diet for recipes. I don't know if it's great to have extra fat in your diet. And although, guys, I look like I'm in my pajamas, I am not. But I debated. But in truth, I'm still wearing Christmas pajamas because they're really cute and they're super comfortable. And I figure Frankie doesn't care. He's like, you look festive, mom. So I'm breaking into, oh, that bacon grease smells good. So I'm feeling better, guys. I might be so full of vitamin C, zinc, and echinacea and ginger that I couldn't help but get well. But I feel better, and I'm not sneezing as much. I'm still blowing some, but it's okay. So I wanted to show you because people have said, you know, can you show more about your freeze dryer? Well, I primarily freeze dry in the summer. Summer? My britches are a little bit big, guys, because I have fresh produce coming in. But I've shared this before, and I was wrong on how many eggs are in here. This is probably like 6 or 7 dozen eggs. So to reconstitute freeze-dried eggs, it is 2 tablespoons of egg powder to 2 tablespoons of water for each egg. So I have been letting this sit, and I thought I would go ahead and scramble them up because we're gonna have one of my favorite breakfast sandwiches. Let me pop down the toast. And you might notice here in the background, Kym, why are you canning during the pantry challenge? Isn't that kind of a strange thing to do? Well, yes and no, because after getting sick, I guess you would say, I realized I probably needed to consider some additional immune system support. I guess that burner got hot. Yeah, I hope you laugh at me because I talk to myself all day long. Like, cat thinks I'm talking to him, and he's like, what do you need, Mama? Yeah, so I'm going to be making, and again, this is something that I learned both from Chelsea over at, oh gosh, Little Mountain Ranch? Something Mountain Ranch, as well as Jessica. I like Jessica's recipe better. So I've been working through my freezer, primarily inside, because that's my #1 priority, is to, because it doesn't keep it as well as the deep freeze. And I have cranberries, guys, so I'm going to can some cranberry juice in anticipation of making maybe some cranberry apple or some elderberry gummies. So let me get my cheese. So I'm still working through my cheese, guys. I still have more in the, I have another bag like this in the freezer, but it's so nice to have, you know, lots of supplies on hand. And I don't feel deprived yet. Still feel a little guilty about buying the oranges, etc. But I'm going to spend today looking at ways, maybe certain things, like things in the freezer, maybe I should freeze dry them or preserve them in a different form to prolong their life. So I'm going to kind of be going through things in between having the hiccups. Guys, I am better. My nausea is better too. And this should be the last day that it's in my system, please, Jesus. All right, guys, I hear my toast, so I'm going to prepare my breakfast. All right, guys, I'm eating on fine china today. I'm going to grab some of my tonic that I made yesterday, or my immunity shot, my orange, lemon, ginger shot. And I'm going to sit down and have breakfast. Then we'll get this cleaned up and talk about what's next. Stay tuned. Well, it's been a while since I've canned. I had to kind of like hustle to find everything. So the first thing I did was wash all my jars, lids, and rings in hot soapy water. Y'all always wash even brand new jars, rings, and lids. That's hard to say. I've put them into my Presto Precise digital canner. I have about 6 pints. I don't know that I even need that many, but we're gonna find out. So let me set the lid on and move this to vent. And first, let me say this, y'all. Is this a USDA approved recipe? Not that I can find. But guys, I feel it's totally safe. So you have to make your own decisions about that. I've seen many YouTubers that I trust, that I would eat at their table, do this. Cranberries are highly acidic. This juice will be used quickly. I'm not terribly worried about botulism, but I need to make that disclaimer. Now, when I watched Jessica do it most recently, she canned in quarts. Water bath for 25 minutes without any sugar. I'm not going to use any sugar in this as well. And even when you look at the approved recipes, they're telling you to boil the fruit, strain it, you know, let it drip in a jelly bag for 2 hours. So a much easier way to do it is the way I'm going to show you, not my original way. Okay, so let's turn this over to boiling water can, and we're gonna press start. We're gonna do this for 20 minutes. I've inserted my jars, and it's gonna warm my jars. So while that's warming, let me show you what I'm doing here. Maybe. So I took all of the frozen cranberries I had, so about 1.5 packs, and rinsed them really well. I'm letting them drain. And I'm going to add to each pint jar. So if you're doing a quart, it's 1.25 cups to 1.5 cups. So I'm going to do like 3/4 of a cup, 2/3 to 3/4 of a cup in each jar. Some are wide mouth, some are the skinnier jars. Once my jars are warmed, I'll measure out the cranberries, and then we're going to add some hot water. My tap water is pretty hot over top to fill it up. So let me kind of rearrange things while this is warming, and we'll get to canning up some cranberries. Hard to talk when your nose is congested. You'll notice that our counter has beeped. It says fill jars. So I'm gonna lift the latch twist the lid. And y'all, generally I can do this with bare hands. Let's grab out a couple jars. They're warm, they're not boiling hot. I did put vinegar in, whoops, with my water there. So let's swing around. Oh! Okay, hold on, guys. On your head. So let's see. Let me see what 2/3 cup looks like. Doesn't look like very many. That's kind of more like 3/4. Oops. And you always want to put some on the floor. Okay, that wasn't 2/3. That was 1/2. Oh, for goodness sakes. Okay, let's put another. I think more like, yeah, more like 3/4 cup. Let me just dirty all the cups. And you could certainly use a funnel. I'm not going to. This is a relatively neat process. I'm gonna fill it up to the bottom ring on the actual jar. Whoops. Okay. I'm baptizing the canning mat. And I'm just gonna use a chopstick to kind of debubble. Push those cranberries down because they should float, and they do. So let me go ahead and clean my rims. Yeah, Frankie, yeah. I guess it was to get it on the canning session. And I am using 4 jars lids. I do not have the coupon code, guys, so if you pop on over to Jessica's channel, she has a discount code. Okay. So that's all there is to it. Super simple. Let me see how many I can get. I may get 6 jars. How many I can get out, and then we'll start the canning process. So I'm super happy to say exactly 6 pints. Perfect. So we're gonna put our lid on, close and lock the swing lever, and we filled our jars, and it's going to start heating. Now I have it on vent. Sometimes it will say remove. Okay, so we'll just remove it. That's the one feature I don't like as much. The newer ones may not be like that. So let me clean up my canning station. We will let this process. I'll bring you back to show you what it looks like. We'll get into our next prep item. So one question I get a lot, and y'all excuse the lighting, I unplugged my ring light, is why are you not showing all the meals that you make during the pantry challenge? And the answer to that, that's a valid question, but the answer to that is because you guys would be like, this is a snooze fest. So I primarily eat breakfast and dinner, which is like a late lunch. I don't eat 3 full meals a day. And I cook twice on a good week, maybe 3 times a week. So I do a lot of leftovers because I don't mind that. And it's kind of silly for me to just say, you know, today we had soup, tomorrow we had soup. You know, I don't want to bore you to death. So that's why I'm not showing you every single meal I make. I love watching everyone else's meals. I just don't think mine are beneficial. So I'll show you the things I think might be helpful for you to use up things in your pantry, but I'm not gonna just share leftovers because that isn't helpful to anyone. All right, guys, on to chore number 2. Kind of looks like I have like all the appliances out, guys. I'm so sorry. So this week, one of the things I want to do is I have a whole chicken in my freezer. It's just hanging out there. Don't tell the girly girls. And I would like to have a roast chicken dinner. Then with the leftover chicken, I was going to make some chicken salad. You might have noticed my egg holder is completely empty. I have 4 emergency eggs in the fridge, but my girls aren't laying at all. I've had one in the last few days and it froze and broke. So it wasn't usable. So, you know, when it's this bad, and we're still under a winter weather advisory with wind chills as low as 15 below, the chickens aren't gonna lay. So that's okay. I can make chicken salad without eggs, but I need some bread to put it on. So the toast that I had this morning wasn't the freshest bread. So let's make a loaf of bread. Now, I am going to use my grain mill sometimes, and sometimes I'm not. And the reason for that is, not only do I want to use up my stored grains, I have a ton of pre-ground bread flour on hand. I have about 1.5 of the 5-gallon buckets with the gamma lids still full of pre-ground bread flour. If I'm using a regular cookbook in my bread machine and not using the home ground flour cookbook, I just have epic fails when I try to grind my own flour, and that may be just my learning curve. So today, I kind of went in my pantry and I thought, what could I make? Okay, so I have this evaporated milk that specified date was 10/23, so not that far out of date, you know, 3 months, not even quite 3 months. It will be 3 months till Tuesday. We are going to make a new bread, to me, out of the Bread Lovers Bread Machine Cookbook. And yeah, I might have a few markers in it. This is like the best value bread book I have ever purchased. So this, and I'm gonna like butcher it, guys, so just know my pronunciation won't be right. Everyday bread in Greece is called somo, or mother's bread, but it's spelled P-S-O-M-O, but I think it's somo. Don't substitute regular milk for the evaporated milk here. You will miss out on the especially sweet, rich flavor it provides. The most authentically Greek version of this bread is made with canned evaporated goat's milk. But cow's milk is just fine. Okay, I'm gonna do a 1.5 pound loaf. So let me gather some things. My canner's done, so I'm gonna lift out my jars. I wanted them to acclimate to room temperature before I bring them out because it's pretty cold in here. And I'll get some things pre-measured, and we'll get to be making this bread, this Greek bread, which I think will be really good for chicken salad sandwiches. You know, look at our beautiful cranberry juice. And from what I hear from Jessica, you need to let this set for a couple weeks because the juice will become richer, more concentrated. So I'm just gonna let that set for a little bit, and I will be using that going forward, both for unsweetened juice drinking, for making the gummies that we'll be doing in an upcoming video. All right, so let's get started. I'm using my Zoji Rushi bread machine, and it automatically will heat your liquids and your yeast together. So the first thing you're going to put in is 1/3 cup of water. We're gonna add to that 1 cup of evaporated milk. I was on the struggle bus getting this thing open, but I finally did. Smells amazing. Is that a full cup? Yeah, let's give it a squirt more. If you have trouble, if you happen to have your Zoji Rushi bread machine and you're having a lot of trouble getting things to be level, bread-wise, sometimes if you add like an extra tablespoon of water or liquid, it will make a difference. All right, next it calls for 2 3/4 cups of bread flour. You know, I think I keep these pretty much linked in my, I get a lot of questions about it. These Morgan Hahn measuring cups, but the cup size is imprinted. I've been known to make a mistake with that. Whenever you're measuring your bread flour for best results, let me dry this cup out better. What you want to do, instead of dipping your cup in, scoop, and I have scoops for all my different grains of flours, Amazon guys, scoop it in, and trust me, your bread will come out, sorry, I'm clinking my silverware, it will come out much less dense, and you'll be very happy for it if you're not using a scale to weigh. Okay, so that's, haters are coming for me, guys. Have my back. No, I understand. Some people listen with headphones to the video, to different videos, and sometimes those noises, I guess, can be super loud and hurt people's ears, and that's never my intention, so I apologize for the clanging. Okay, so we have 2 3/4 cup of bread flour. Then it calls for a 1/4 cup of either sprouted grain whole wheat. And y'all, I have some einkorn that really does need to be used. I have all the lights on. It's just dark in here, I guess. Where's this one? Okay. So you could also use spelt. I don't have spelt flour. I thought I had some spelt whole grain, but I don't. Okay. I'll whack it with my hand. Okay, next is 1 1/2 tablespoons of sesame seeds. Now it doesn't specify white or whatsoever, but I'm assuming they mean white. So I'm gonna add that. That might have been a little generous. Okay. And this is another thing that I went through my everything bagel on everything phase. So I have a lot of sesame seeds on hand. A tablespoon of gluten. Now, it calls for 2 teaspoons of sugar. I was going to use honey. However, I think for the first time I make this recipe, I'm going to do what it actually says. So let me just measure out 2 teaspoons into the scooper. 2 teaspoons in a whole loaf of bread will not diabetes make. And 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. And for this particular recipe, I'm going to use peak Himalayan. Sometimes I'll use Redmond Real, but my peak Himalayan is older, so I thought, well, sometimes salt can get moisture in it, and I really don't want to even waste salt, so let's use the pink Himalayan. So I like to put my salt in the corners of the pan so that it doesn't interact with the yeast as much. And even if you're watching your salt, guys, if you don't at least put salt substitute in, your bread will taste like, I don't know, nothing. It's amazing how much it enhances the flavor. Okay, so the last ingredient is 2 teaspoons of SAF yeast. Let me grab it out of the freezer. And I like to put it right in the middle so it's furthest away from the salt. And that's all there is to it. How simple was that, right? And to me, there is no comparison between homemade and store-purchased bread. Hands down, I'll take the homemade. The last bread I made, where I ground my own flour, I took it up to our local pharmacy. They've done a lot of favors for me, helped me a lot with my mom's meds before she went into the facility. And they actually called me, and I was like, oh no, did they give me the wrong prescriptions? You know, because I take blood pressure medicine, etc. And they were like, this bread is amazing. You can bake for us anytime. That did my heart so much good. Okay, so it says set on medium and program for basic. So basic, is number 1. And the crust is set to medium. Lock in. good start. And about 11 a.m., we will have some fresh bread. Maybe we'll have it with our leftover soup, although those Cheddar Bay biscuits, guys, those were really, really good. I don't like using a lot of prepackaged food, but it's off the shelf, so I won't be having such rich, buttery goodness for a while again. Okay, let me clear this up. We'll see what we're gonna get into next in preparation for this week's pantry challenge. Stay tuned. All right, y'all. Well, I decided to go to the deep freeze and go through my canning pantry and try to come up with a way to use up some things that I know are at their best by date. So I'm gonna make up a recipe. So what I found was a package of puff pastry, and I have some cherry pie filling from June of 22. I also had a package of cream cheese. And y'all, in one of my earlier videos, I said I used the cream cheese. I meant cottage cheese. So you just have to excuse me. I really edit my videos, I really do, but sometimes it just slips by me. Now, I know that when I made this cherry pie filling, I did it with sugar. So this is not sugar-free, but in an effort not to make it too crazy, I am going to use stevia for the cream cheese portion. And I'm gonna start with about a 1/4 cup for the whole pack of cream cheese. Ooh, might have breathed some of that in. So I love a good Danish. I mean, who doesn't, right? That could have probably been softer. But, you know, too many Danishes make too much Kym, so I try not to, like, overdo it. I try to be pretty sparing with the treats and desserts. One of my sweet neighbors, I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You could use almond too, would be good with the cherry. Do I have almond? No, I have 17 kinds of extracts, but no almond. The neighbor that has my chicken sisters let me know yesterday that they had picked up straw and they had a bale of straw for me. And I thought, well, and it was late. I could get up and get dressed and open the gate and do all those things, but net, it was cold, and so after church on Sunday, they're gonna bring it. So I thought, hey, why not have a little treat I can send home with them as appreciation for doing that. Okay, so here's what I have. Now, please work. I'm on a baking sheet over here. Y'all, I'm running out of kitchen space today. Just gonna put some parchment paper down. And I know these are not 100% thawed. They're gonna crack, but that's okay, because that's where I want them to break. So I usually a puff pastry sheet, which has been in my freezer for a while, is kind of folded in thirds. Y'all, excuse me. In fact, since this may not be all for me, I'm gonna wash my hands again. Okay, that's better. I think this will be about perfect size if I just, using a pizza wheel, cut them into 6 pieces, and then put them on the baking tray. So I tried doing some searches for puff pastry, and there were a lot of good ideas. You know, the internet is your friend for different things like this, but I thought, you know, it might make sense to just make it up. And I know this particular family is not extremely fond of a lot of processed sugar, so I figured this might be a good option with the stevia. So I'm gonna put a generous tablespoon of the cream cheese on each one of the puff pastries. And I'm actually going to do this one tray at a time. My oven's preheating to 400. And the reason I'm gonna do them one at a time is actually pretty simple. I don't know how they're gonna come out. So if it doesn't come out, or I have challenges, maybe I can overcome them with the second batch. That's the way I'm looking at it. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of spread this around. Gosh, I hope this comes out. It surely looks good. And I think it smells good. I was editing the earlier part of my video and I realized I said it was full of echinacea. That's not what I meant. I meant elderberry. Sometimes your brain works faster than your mouth, and what comes out is not what you put in. Output does not equal input, or vice versa. Input doesn't equal output, I think. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, get off there. Yeah, it's not hard. Now, sometimes when you use like a clear gel for your pie filling, it will, if not used pretty promptly, it'll kind of separate out in your jar. So I don't know if y'all can really see. Yeah, see how it's kind of solidified? I have a cure for that. First, you must dirty all the spoons. If you just stir it, it's fine. And this was actually last year, I think. Is that right? No. Well, anyway, I had frozen the cherries and ended up canning them into pie filling, and I'm really glad that I did. So in each Danish-ish thing, we're gonna spread plenty of pie filling. And guys, you could use about anything. I saw one that looked similar to this that was blueberry and lemon, but I don't have any blueberry pie filling right now. So I thought, let's use what we have. And this should use up the whole jar. I'm pretty pleased when I was putting some dishes in the dishwasher, just how many mason jars I've used. So I think, you know, overall, thus far, the pantry challenge has been a pretty big success. Is it something I will repeat? I absolutely will. I may continue on with somewhat of a pantry challenge where I just really focus on using up what's in my pantry. Figuring this out was kind of like an episode of Chopped. So as soon as the oven is finished preheating, I'm gonna pop them in, and I'm thinking like maybe 15 to 20. I'm not real sure. I'll just keep a close eye on them, and then I'll bring you back. We have to sample one. I can't very well gift something we haven't tasted, right? I didn't taste the cream cheese, but I'm sure it's fine. There's enough sugar, trust me, in the pie filling. It'll be plenty sweet enough. And if it's not real sweet, that's okay too. You could make a glaze for over the top. I'm not going to do that. That would make it more Danish-like. But the only non-sugar type of, some people call it icing sugar or powdered sugar, that I have is erythritol, and I'm not going to put that on here because of the blood pressure effects. Okay guys, I'll see you in a few minutes. I'm probably gonna have to walk around to turn you off. You all, these are a winner. Look how beautiful. Now this one was puff pastry overboard. And I ended up cooking them for about 18 minutes, but my puff pastry wasn't like 100% thawed. So you can see the fluffy layers, flaky layers, but the truth is in the taste. Mmm. Mmm. I might be a pretty good cooker after all. Wow. Absolutely fabulous. I'm actually going to message the neighbor, my little helper. Hi, Miles. And see if he wants to run over and get half a dozen for their family, because I don't need a whole dozen. But guys, what a delicious, delicious treat. Our bread is coming along, rising very, very well. It's on the second rise, had peek and check. So I'm gonna go enjoy my Danish second breakfast. Why not? And then I'll be back to show you the final bread and give you some final thoughts on preparing for week 4 of the pantry challenge. And I misspoke when I was talking about the chicken. I'm going to roast the chicken. I'm going to eat some roasted chicken, probably some potatoes, canned veg, home canned veg. And then I want to make a little bit of chicken salad from it. I mean, it's a whole chicken, guys. It'll feed me for a week easily. Then I want to make chicken vegetable soup. I have some bone broth in the freezer that I prepped late summer, I think. And so I want to take that out, and then I may make some bone broth from the carcass to replenish. So just that constant turning over of pantry staples, pantry supplies, so that everything stays fresh and you're not having to play an episode of Chopped, which turned out very well in your kitchen. All right, see you soon. Well, y'all, today has been infinitely productive day, getting ready for Pantry Challenge Week 4, planning out some meals, looking at what I still have left in the freezer. It might have kind of read like an episode of Chopped as I looked at things that were, you know, nearing or past their best by date that I still could use, and I feel like I did a good job today. So we have our 6 sealed pints of beautiful cranberry juice, all sealed. I love the 4 jars lids, guys. I do not have seal failures with the lids. The only time I've ever had a failure was on my part. I sent half of the cherry cheese, cream cheese, Danishes, puff pastries to the neighbors. They were very happy to receive. And then over here, I have my rather rustic but delicious smelling loaf of Greek bread. Now, I'm not gonna cut it, it's still warm, but you notice behind me, I've managed to get everything cleaned up, even vacuumed, did all the things so that I can take a little rest, knowing that my chicken's in the fridge thawing. I have plenty of side dishes in my pantry. I have bread if I want sandwiches or toast. I have dessert, and I have some juice for an upcoming video where we're gonna make some, what I hoped is sugar-free, and they will be healthy, high-protein gummies. That might be something you wanna make for, pardon me, for your children or grandchildren. You know, I did wanna leave you with one thought. I have friends, and this is not meant to be a criticism in any way, shape, or form, who this lifestyle would be like going to prison. And I get that, right? Not everybody wants to do chicken chores at 11 below wind chill and garden and can. Not everybody enjoys that. And that doesn't make them wrong and me right. One thing I did want to say, and again, I'm not criticizing any specific YouTuber, but sometimes I see videos where people are like rushing or almost frantic and not enjoying the moment. And that could very well be their life circumstance. Mine is I have a lot of time on my hands. So doing things like these things here brings me so much joy. There is joy in homemaking. There is joy in self-sufficiency. And if these hands can bless someone else, I'm very happy to do that. So it's very rewarding to me. So while yes, the cat will always want to drink, the chicken's coop will always need mucked out, the laundry will always pile up, dishes will pile up. Find your joy in doing these everyday things and be thankful that you still have the ability. I've struggled a lot for the last 3 months. Y'all have been witness to it. And I'm just so grateful that I'm kind of coming out on the other side. I know I kind of don't sound like it, but I really am. I haven't had any nausea for, okay, everybody knock on wood, for almost 48 hours. So I do think I'm through that part. I'm having less hiccups and my cold is subsiding. So, you know, through it all, I give the Lord all the credit, but he's been very good to me. And even in times when you're discouraged, and I've been really discouraged in the last week, I'm still grateful that I have the knowledge, the ability to learn, the willingness to do, and some skill as well. So I hope today's video has been a blessing to you, maybe gave you some ideas for your pantry challenge if you're doing that, if you're participating. 3 Rivers Challenge, pantry challenge, whatever you want to call it. I did have a thought when I was coming up with this dessert. I thought I should have you all give me like 3 things you've seen in my pantry or freezer that I should use up and make it like an episode of Chopped and see what I can come up with. So if you would, smash that like button, leave me a comment below. Should I do a Chopped challenge dictated by you beautiful subscribers? All right, guys, I will see you a bit later this week, Lord willing. It is Saturday here. This is next Thursday. You'll be seeing this on Thursday. So I'm ahead of the game. So I'm happy about that. But I'll see y'all very soon. But until then, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and take care.